It is November 6, 2022. We're in Lafayette, California, interviewing Mr. Dan Franklin about his life and experiences during World War II. And would you mind signing my book here? You see any of the white area here where the ink will actually show up. So if you just put your name. There you go.
Should I print it or what?
Yeah, however you want here, because you need room for the date and for your LSM. I'll stick in that number later. Okay, and then if you can put November 6, 2022. And you just put LSM and I'll fill the number in later.
LCM.
Oh, sorry, LCM, okay? So that landing craft.
Mechanized.
Okay. Okay, great.
Thanks. Okay.
Okay. So if you can just, I'll start, I'll ask you a few questions, and basically we're interested in your early life too, because that's what you took into the military with you. So can you tell us where you were born and when, and something about your parents and your family?
Born in Kansas City, Missouri, 1926. And
what's the day and the month?
I don't recall.
Oh, okay, okay.
Well, September 2nd.
Oh, okay,
Sorry.
September 2nd?
Yeah.
Okay.
And unfortunately, I was the third child. My two elders, my brother was 8 years older, and my sister 10 and a half.
Oh.
And my mother passed away when I was 9 years old.
Okay.
And my father drowned here in the bay when he was 52.
Wow.
In 1946.
So what did he do in Kansas City? What did your...
My father was a tailor.
Okay.
Had his own tailor shop. He came from Russia and had that trade, and that's what made him survive.
So they anglicized the name.
Yes, of course. I've heard two versions. The one I heard was Franklach, L-A-C-H, which supposedly has a French derivation. But he came here with my uncle, his elder brother, and his brother took my father's first name because he was invading the Russian army.
Okay.
And my father took his younger brother's name, Joseph.
Okay.
So my father was actually born Benjamin.
So where in Russia did they come from?
Minsk.
Okay, so Belarus today. Yes. Okay.
Exactly.
It's very interesting. Do you know when they arrived? And
I don't. I know I've got 1906 in mind, but I'm not sure.
right. Did they come through Ellis Island?
No, they came through, of all things, Texas.
Really? Well, like Corpus Christi or something?
No. By Houston.
Houston? Near Houston?
Not Houston, but I forgot.
Okay, Galveston maybe?
Galveston.
Okay.
And it's unique. And,
yeah.
I looked at Ellis Island when I was there.
Yeah, that's what it seemed.
And how they wound up in Kansas City, I'll never know, because they had no relatives there.
Huh.
And my father and his brother ultimately married two girls who were first cousins.
Wow.
In Kansas City.
Huh.
And my uncle moved to, I don't know why, Perth Amboy, New Jersey. And he was a house painter.
Huh. So you said you had brothers and sisters?
Two.
And they were, can you remember their names? And
Oh, of course. My sister was Lillian, and my brother was born Gerald.
Okay.
He hated the name, so he called it Jay.
right.
So
did you, in growing up, I mean, your sister was 10 years older. I mean, you must not have really known her too well.
Oh, yeah. No, because my mother passed away when I was 9.
Oh, okay.
So she became somewhat of a mother figure.
Okay.
What happened is that my father was still a young man, and when my mother passed away, and married again.
Okay.
And when she was coming from Denver to move into our house, my sister thought she'd better rush up her wedding. So she got married, got the heck out of the house.
Wow.
And had her own life.
Right.
So she was a mother figure to me.
Okay. So did you have then step siblings? Did she have? No.
I had them. She had. They were comparable ages to my sister and brother.
Okay.
But never met them.
Okay.
They lived in Denver.
Okay. So now, what was life? So you were born in 1926.
Yes.
Do you remember anything about the Depression in the 30s and how that affected
I
you?
have some recollection of some fighting going on, unions and so forth, but I was still very young, and I really didn't comprehend
Okay.
what it was all about, but I lived through it and recognized that there was upheaval in the land. Of course, my father always made a good living in his tailor shop, so we never suffered financially.
Okay.
I always remember we had the first shower on the block.
Oh. Wow, that's a big deal. Inside the house.
One of these circular things.
Yeah, but it's still inside the house,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, oh, yeah.
Did you have an inside toilet too? Or?
Oh, yeah.
Wow,
Oh,
you guys
yeah.
were living
No, we're in a nice neighborhood.
living high on the hog
I
there.
don't know. I never wanted for anything. I was spoiled rotten. And which in later life didn't do me any good.
Right, yeah.
But it did in a way. It made me think of the other side of the world.
Right.
I mean, I really literally couldn't do no wrong.
Wow.
And I was 9, 10 years old when he remarried, and I wasn't thrilled about the
Yeah.
new mother. And I'm sure I stirred the pot terribly, and they ultimately divorced.
Oh,
And I would maybe blame myself for that. But
really?
that's hindsight. I'll give you an anecdote. My father was very stringent about cussing in the house, never allowed it. My brother was in his teens, had graduated high school, and had a job just a couple of blocks from my father's tailor shop in downtown Kansas City. So my father took him to work every day, and he and I shared that upstairs bedroom. And here he is running through the house. My dad's honking the horn. He's running through the house saying, "God damn it, where's a handkerchief in this house?" He couldn't find it, and then he created the ultimate sin. He went into their bedroom to get a handkerchief. I'll tell you how stringent that was as far as in his mind. He went to work, left work, hitchhiked to Cincinnati with some buddies of his, didn't come back for over a year.
Wow. Wow.
Strange story.
What about school? Did you like it, not like it?
Yeah, my recollections are sort of slim. The grade school I remember, I'm Jewish, and I remember walking the hall saying, "Oh, come on, ye faithful."
Did you go to Catholic school then, or what?
No, just very public school, we during the holidays.
Right.
And the other recollection I have is my mother would send me off with a jar of orange juice. And
So you didn't have a particular favorite subject or one you hated?
no, I don't remember much.
Okay.
I do remember, it's amazing how one thing stays in your mind. I must think it was 4th grade. Isn't that funny? I remember this. And the teacher was talking about communities and so forth. And somehow or other I said, "Well, what about the parish in New Orleans?"
Uh-huh.
She said, "There is no such thing."
She had,
I've lived with that whole life.
yeah, she's not, didn't
She wasn't knowledgeable.
Didn't.
And-
Well, there's anecdotes
Oh.
today of people, of high school teachers who think the Roman numeral 2 behind World War means World War 11.
Yeah,
You've heard that one, right? I don't know whether that's true or not.
I
I think it might be.
Anyway, I'll give you the other anecdote that my father divorced, and of all things, remarried a widow who had been one of my mother's best friends.
Oh, wow.
And my sister really resented it because she felt that he was remarrying out of convenience more than anything else.
Well,
And it turned out that she was one of the world's worst cooks.
okay. Well, that's why you're not overweight.
No, well, that's another story. But I belonged to an AZA group in the Jewish Community Center, and I'd come up, sit down at dinner, and he'd say, "Don't you have a meeting at the Y?" And I'd say, "Yeah, let's go." So that didn't work out. My sophomore year, halfway, I was taking geometry and flunking, and suddenly I get a call from the office. Principal wants to talk to you. What the hell did I do? I get down and said, "Your father's coming over to pick you up." I said, "What's that all about?" I said, "I get that." I said, "Dad, what's up?" He says, "We're leaving town." I said, "What do you mean we're leaving town?" "Yeah, we're going to El Paso. I have a job there."
Huh.
And unbeknownst to me, he'd evidently broken it off with her. It was a 2-story house, and she's on the porch throwing her clothes onto the lessons in life.
Right, right.
So we drove to El Paso from Kansas City. And in those days, the motels were not what they are now, really. Au contraire. And he went by way of Denver. And I said, that seems to be out of the way.
Exactly.
He said, well, you know, and certainly I'm only in my, I guess, teens. I didn't even think of it. Whatever sophomore year in high school. And he said, you know, we could stay here in Denver. And Becky's here, that's his second wife. And make a life for ourselves. I said, no way. I don't.
Were you set on El Paso or what?
So we went to El Paso. And it was quite an experience for me because I went in school. Nothing to do all day. And we lived in a boarding house with the long table with the bowls of food and what have you. It was quite an experience.
Yeah.
And then I got homesick. I wanted to go home and see my girlfriend. And I talked to, again, I'm spoiled. I didn't have to talk to him into it too much. He said, okay. Got me on a bus back to Kansas City.
So he stayed in El Paso, but you
yeah.
Okay. And then how old were you at that point?
I had to, how old was a sophomore in high school? 12 years old?
No, sophomore in high school, you should be about 15, 16?
No, it wasn't that old.
Okay.
I mean, I know it wasn't that old because I went back to Kansas City. My brother-in-law, sister's husband, had a flower shop, florist, with his brothers. And they put me to work there. And I lived with them, my sister. I'm working at the flower shop for $10 a week at the flower shop. And my dad had a fellow drive his car from El Paso to Kansas City so I'd have a car.
Whoa, yeah.
Whoa.
Spoiled?
What?
I mean, not compared to today. Where
Well, I know.
But compared to then, yeah.
Unheard of.
Yeah.
And I got mad at my sister. Didn't want to live with her. And I was working then at his brother's wholesale flower shop. This is the one that supplies the florists and so on. And I remember schlepping the big gladiolas, carrying from his place at downtown florist, whatever, and making nothing, $10 a week. And a buddy of mine, his mother passed away, and I rented a room from him in his house for $3 a week. No food, just a room. And the reason I did it is he was a half block from my girlfriend's house.
Okay.
So I'm still in love. And when rationing came on, my father wrote a note to my sister, I still have it, don't give him the title to the car. So I couldn't get a ration card. And I filled up every container imaginable with gasoline in the basement of this warehouse. It's a wonder it didn't blow up. And the day I ran out of gas, I parked the car there and took a bus to San Francisco. My father had transferred from El Paso to here. That's how I got out of the West Coast.
Now, do you remember, well, you would, because you would have been about 15 or so. Do you remember where you were and how you heard about Pearl Harbor?
Yeah, everybody's familiar with that. I was on the basketball floor playing basketball at the Y. Somebody said, hey, they just bombed Pearl Harbor. I said, who is she?
Yeah. Okay.
Little did we know
Yeah, of course.
It would change our lives.
Right. So how did your life change after Pearl Harbor?
Well, only back to that circumstance where I was living the day-to-day life with barely making a living or whatever. And sometimes I'd sleep in the car. Terrible. So then when I got to San Francisco with my dad, he was working at Coyote Point. Now, you wouldn't know that.
Actually, I stayed in a hotel there the other night.
Oh, did you? Well, it's a recreational area, but during the war they made it a training base for oh goodness, the Merchant Marine cadets to become seamen and so forth. And he was the only tailor on the base. And I came to live with him. He had an apartment in Burlingame, which is just across the way. And he had a girlfriend here. They'd never married, but he had one. And we take the bus in on weekends to enjoy life with her and so forth and so on. And I had nothing to do, and I was just, I mingled you may not be old enough to remember Ted Weems' band, but Ted Weems' band, his vocalist was a very famous guy, I forgot his name. And they had been touring the South Pacific and came back and were planted at this base. So they would prepare dinner music, luncheon music, and so forth and so on. And in between, they had nothing to do. So they had them cleaning barnacles off of boats and I got to know Snooky Lanson. May not be a familiar name.
No, but I can imagine.
Well,
It's got to be a stage name.
He was on the radio on Hit Parade.
Okay.
He's a very famous name. I got to know him. And you may not remember this, but there was a whistler on Ted Weems, whose name just jumped out of my head. Very famous whistler. And he would whistle the famous songs of the day. And the first day they were there, they were setting up for lunch. And I got nothing to do, I'm watching him. And he grabbed the mic and he's going to whistle. The mic had a short in it. He's going, ooh, that'll never do. Anyway, people who are older than you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah, and that's a little, because I'm 71, so that's a little before.
Oh yeah.
So, so Pearl Harbor occurs, you're 15.
Thereabouts.
Yeah. And you go into the Navy at 16.
16. The intervening period is when I finished the car, took the bus. It's the longest bus ride in the history of bus rides. Terrible.
Okay.
And I got on here and I said, nothing to do. We didn't go back to school. Never even discussed it. And at that point, my brother was already a prisoner of war in Germany.
Huh. Had he been Army, Air Corps?
Shot down, bombardier.
Okay.
And he was...
Do you know what, was he 8th Air Force out of England, or was he 15th out of Italy?
England,
Okay.
Northern England.
Okay.
Never talked about it.
Huh.
Never.
Huh.
And he had his own problems. He was always kind of mixed up.
Okay.
Hated kids and became a teacher.
Well, that's...
Yeah, that makes sense. Had a very happy marriage, lovely gal and so forth. But I'm on this base with nothing to do and I want to join the Navy. And the tenor of the Times suggested everybody was gung-ho at the time.
Right.
So I talked to my dad. I'm sure he was glad, in a way, to get rid of me, because he's still a young man. And signed the papers. Got my birthday in 1925. And that's what I told you, for love of country, why are you joining?
Right.
And the commander of the base that he was working at, even though they were merchant marine, was a Navy commander. And he came to me and he said, I know your dad is worried about your son, your brother, and I can arrange it so you can spend your Navy career here in the Bay Area so you'll be close to your father. What did I say? No way! Little did I, many's the time I thought of that conversation, you can imagine. So again, I was spoiled for it. And then took a train from San Francisco to Idaho, Farragut, Idaho, which is adjacent to Coeur d'Alene, if you know that part.
Yeah, we just had, yeah.
Coeur d'Alene's very nice. And that was where we would take a day's liberty or something of that sort. And Farragut was, it was and is still a gigantic park. The Boy Scouts use it now. And it's rimmed with large hills. I was a kid about the fact that they invented the over-the-hill name for Farragut, because you'd have to go over a hill to get the hell out of it. And I grew up a lot during that period.
So this was 42, 43 in there somewhere?
42.
Oh.
42.
Okay.
And I didn't weigh anything. And in those days in the Navy, if you're transferred, you took your mattress with you.
Huh.
A round mattress, a big duffel bag, and your duffel bag in the middle of it. And it weighed more than I did, so that's beside the point. So I had some experiences there, and they asked in those days, what schooling would you like that will help the war effort? And I put down parachute rigging. Don't ask me why. And they said, we don't need any more of those. Next best is diesel engineering. And I said, well, where would I go? Iowa State College in Ames, Iowa. I said, well, that's close to Kansas City. I can get there on Liberty. So that's why I chose it.
Oh, okay.
Spent 12 weeks there training. And then they sent us from there we went to Norfolk, Little Creek, Virginia. Still in training. Had its own beer hall. I'm still only a young kid, drinking up. So one night the two of us head for the city, head for Norfolk. And I wake up the next morning and there's a piece of toilet paper on my arm and I got a tattoo.
And you don't remember it?
No. But I said, if it's got a gal's name on there, I'll cut my arm off. But it says U.S. Navy 1943.
Okay. Well, it's good it didn't have some girl's name that you
Yeah,
never...
really. No, I would have done something. So we trained there, and then they transferred us to Florida, off the coast, because in small boats we were practicing landing or what have you, and had some interesting experiences there.
Okay, were you at this point, were the regular Higgins boats around? What kind of boats were you training in?
Higgins is famous for the 36-footer, which is all wood.
Right.
It's an LCVP, which is...
Yeah, except for the front that's metal, yeah.
Yeah, well, mine was 50-footer, all metal, with a benched-in
Okay.
ramp.
And that was called a...
LCM.
Which is landing craft...
Mechanized.
Okay. So basically, did it look similar to, but was larger than the LCVI?
Yeah, the LCVP was 36 foot.
Right.
We were 50.
So, but otherwise it was sort of an enlarged version, no?
No comparison. We
Okay.
were all metal.
Oh, you're all metal, okay.
And the VP was all wood and carried just a short
Okay. Okay. So you actually you slept on this boat. You can't sleep on a Higgins boat. Well, I suppose you could.
We had our jackets, you know, and we'd push them up in the corners.
Okay.
But we were in, I forget the name of the town in Florida, and we were, in those days, the Germans had submarines in that part of the waters.
Right, yeah.
And it was scanning, would you believe, one of our engines broke down on the boat. We're drifting out there, threw the anchor over, it wasn't tied to anything. How we won the war. Anyway, they had to send helicopters out to put a rope around us and drag us back into shore. That was my experience in Florida.
So what was the complement of an LCM?
5 men.
Okay.
And of course, from there we were transferred to New York to get ready to go overseas. And I spent a couple of 3 weeks, as I recall, because I had family, my uncle's family, and my mother had cousins in New Jersey, so I got to meet them for the first time.
Okay.
And I met my uncle for the first time. And my cousin lived there. She married a New Yorker. And so I had that. And my best friend, and we were very close, he was from Chicago area, Bellwood, I forget the town. And he was going home for Christmas. And I had nothing to do, so I visited family. So we shipped out. Now, the fact that I was the motor machinist mate, which is the diesel engine, the LCM had 2 diesels below deck. And because I was the mechanic, supposedly, they never even gave us a screwdriver, but whatever. we kid about that we didn't even have a pair of pliers. But we're in. So the transport was one of these large transport, and they buckled our boat down to the deck. So we're riding with the crew. We got nothing to do, we're riding with the crew.
So are you in an LST at that point?
No, this is a transport ship.
Okay.
All kinds of.
Right, okay.
Large ship.
Okay.
Large ship. But a day out of New York, they lost an engine. So we lost the flotilla.
Oh.
We're all alone in the North Atlantic.
Oh no, all the German...
Not good.
Yeah.
Did zigzag and, what is it called? Caldard, not Caldard, but forget the term. Everybody gets up and go to your battle station.
Yeah, general quarters. General quarters.
Didn't have a battle station, so just 2 of us. And so we'd be with one of those other people. Took us 23 days to cross the Atlantic.
Oh, my God.
And we were the only, by then we're all alone. And so
Did you have enough food for that crossing?
I guess. I never thought about food, but we landed at Falmouth, England. And I remember that night vividly. We got off the ship. And
Is this in 43 now or in early 44?
Had to be 43.
Okay,
Yeah, because it had to be 43.
okay.
And I remember the first thing we did was, there was like a USO, but it was British, and so we ran over there just for something to do in their plane. You put your right foot in, put your left foot in, do it all about.
Yeah.
Oh God, it was funny. So we were barracks there, and we were transferred to Dartmouth, England, South, in the Royal Naval College. That is their
Annapolis, yeah.
comparable to Annapolis. I think they resented the fact that we took it over totally. They had a big grinder that you'd go around. So as a penalty, if you did something out of line, you'd get so many laps around the grinder and carry your backpack. And I say, it still weighs as much as I did. Anyway, from there, I'm trying to hit scotch here, but we took liberty. We trained for quite a while there. And I guess I don't remember the month we got there, but I know that was the year of the invasion, so it had to be 44.
Mm-hmm.
And we'd have liberty. And there was a shortage of booze.
In Britain?
In Britain.
Hard to believe.
I know. And in the game we played is, can you find a bar that's got plenty of gin?
Wow.
And one of our guys says, there's a town called Torquay, I don't know if you know it, but Torquay is a resort town, has palm trees and whatever. And it wasn't far from Dartmouth, I don't remember the mileage, but it wasn't a bit. And we would go there, and sure enough, unlimited gin. Play cute. Hand it on your back, dip. And I got so smashed, can't tell you. And I said, I have to go to the bathroom. And they said, it was the lobby of a hotel. They said, okay, down these steps and turn left. If you didn't turn left, you went outside, and which I did. And in those days, they didn't have curbing. They had pipes, sewage pipes, in the same position as curb. And I fell, place, burst, bam, broke my nose.
Oh, wow.
I didn't bleed or anything, but I was in bad shape. So.
Wow. So you didn't learn any lessons about drinking?
Not at all. I mean, torpedo juice, you familiar with that?
I've heard of it, yeah.
Okay, that's out of the torpedo, and it's pure 100% alcohol.
Wow.
That'll knock you out.
Now, while you're there, did you, I assume you did a lot of practice landings and stuff like that?
At Dartmouth, we did, too.
Now, did you, I assume not just your craft, but larger units to practice the invasion?
No.
No? Just
not
yours?
Where we were. No, not where we were.
Okay.
It was just all our boats.
Okay. Because I was going to ask you if you, we're jumping way ahead now. I wanted to ask you about Operation Tiger. You know about that?
Do not.
Okay.
Do not.
It was a practice run in April 44, just before D-Day, and some German E-boats got in amongst the LSTs and just slaughtered.
Oh, see, LSTs, it was the ocean.
Yeah, right.
And
But I mean, they
okay.
sank several and killed
Oh,
close to 800 people.
I had a bad experience only by going by them in the water and the bodies in the water. We saw the bodies.
Oh, so you did see that then?
Well, I don't know that by that name. I just went by where some LSTs had been sunk.
This is not D-Day, this is before.
What else before?
Okay, it's got to be Operation Tiger.
Oh, yeah, but I never knew it by that name.
Okay. Well, they kept it hush-hush for years, and they would tell the relatives, oh, you know, your son died, you know, in the Normandy thing.
No,
Okay.
didn't have any of that.
Okay.
That put the fear of God in me to see the dead bodies in the water.
I guess.
It's a terrible experience. I would jump ahead to this extent. I've been asked to give talks to high schoolers and so forth. And I show for the first few minutes, the first minutes of the movie Saving Private Ryan.
Mm-hmm.
It is so realistic I can't watch it. I show it, but I can't. The background of that is here where we're going on D-Day. Because, you know, the D-Day was postponed one day.
Right. So were you at sea that from the 5th to the 6th? Were you at sea?
No. We were stationed in Poole.
Okay.
And ready to go. But I learned a lesson, and which I told my sons as a girl. It's not what you know, it's who you know. Mm-hmm. The night before the invasion, we had 36 boats in our flotilla, times 5. And suddenly, Joe over here, we're taking you to this group, this over here, this guy over here. I said, what the hell's going on? We trained together for so long, and we lost one guy. Well, they knew the first half of our flotilla was going in on the first day, and the second half, the second day.
And you were all going to the same beach?
Oh yeah, but you know, yeah, for sure. But that's when I said, whoa, wait a minute. Of course, I didn't think of it at that time. In hindsight, I realized if you knew somebody, you're the second way and forget it.
Yeah.
So we went, and the weather was terrible. And because we were such a low, I think we could have steamed across. They towed us across.
Okay.
And the sight that I'll never forget is anywhere you looked was every kind of shape, size, what have you, boat, ships, whatever, all different flags of different nations, covered the terrain. Now we're the lead boat, I'm jumping ahead here, but the lead boat in the third wave. And our task was to go to the OCI, that's Landing Craft Infantry, and pick up these soldiers. And they would climb down the road with them. And our coxswain, as we're gathering to go into, we don't know what they were doing. I'm just a visitor on top deck. And he said, quote unquote, I'm not going in there, you get killed in there. And he turned the boat out to sea, and the 5 boats behind us are following him. He's a nice Italian kid from Brooklyn, and his best friend was a name I'll never forget. I just said I'll forget it. Oh my goodness. Sassio Monti.
Huh.
Good Italian name.
Yeah.
Sassio was red hair, and his claim to fame was we played poker in the barracks before the invasion, and Sassio always had 3 kings. He'd go out to town before, and he said, so you have to be done now. Don't go, stay with me. Anyway, and he could defend himself because he was really, whatever. So he cold-cocked him, knocked him out, took over the wheel, which in hindsight saved my life. Because then I took his .50 caliber, which had metal shields. And while I'm shooting that, I don't know what the hell I'm shooting at, and the tracer bullets, I could see them going, but there were bullets hitting the sidewalls. And that's how I escaped.
Well,
Survived the first day.
so you were there on the 3rd wave.
First lead boat, first wave.
First?
Third wave.
And that's at Omaha.
At Omaha.
Do you remember which beach you landed?
Omaha.
No, I mean like Dog 1 or Red 1.
No,
you know.
that's Army stuff.
Right, okay.
I'm going to tell stories that may not be wanted for your purposes, but I'll tell you.
Well, we want to hear what you have to say,
Okay,
sure.
yeah, you can always delete it. But that going in there was horrendous because, as I say, the Jones up here, it's like shooting fish in a barrel. And it was just, as I recall it, a gigantic mistake. Hitler thought we were going to cross the Calais and was well prepared and so forth. And here's a German unit doing training on top of Omaha. Didn't know we were coming. And of course it was dawn and weather was bad and all kinds of good stuff, you know, the ships are shitty, so forth. And of course then after we got Sassio on the wheel, we went to the OCI and picked up, I think, 12, 15 guys in the well of the boat. And that's when we hit I was going in, they were going in, and it was, you can't believe it. It was just slaughter. We lost 5,000 men. that day in Omaha. And we did make it. And after the troops were off, the Navy guy was saying, Lieutenant Ware, can you take some wounded out to the transport area? And we said, yeah, sure, of course. Okay, and because they need to go back to England for medical services, whatever. So when we backed out, I felt a shudder, just like sort of like that. Didn't think anything of it. And because I was below decks, I had anything to do. So I was in the well of the boat talking to these guys. Some were shell-shocked, some were wounded, and giving them cigarettes and just breaking the time until we could get to the transport area. And the swells were as high as the ceiling. And here's this little boat of ours, like, and we don't know what the hell we're doing. They lowered a stretcher. I mean, it took us a while to get used to putting him in the stretcher, and they take him in. And we'd had orders from the beach, bring back stretchers and blankets. Yeah. What I didn't realize is that we were sinking. We glanced a mine that had ripped a tear in the bottom of the boat. Wasn't gushing, but slowly and I looked up and the bow was up there. What the hell's that all about? And go below decks, water's over the walkway. That's where we knew we were in trouble. And we finally got all the guys up on the transport, and we said, hey, we need stretchers and blankets. It's like pickup sticks, cargo net full of blankets, and just dropped them in the well of the boat, and that compounded the sinking. Because then really, the bow is up like this, and we're thinking, what the hell are we going to do on it at 5? And our little signalman is going, and we were lucky. And this is when I fell out of love with the Coast Guard. They're up there, zip, their big BT boats, right? Couldn't get their attention. One of our own flotilla was in the area, came by our boat, and we unloaded as many stretchers and blankets as we could. And I'll tell you something funny. They'd given us a yellow marker buoy, 2x4, with a rope on it. They said, if you lose one of our boats, you'll sink in this marker buoy, we'll mark them, we'll be able to keep this positive thinking. So I was the next to the last guy. I said, don't forget the marker buoy. He threw it, and it wasn't tied to anything. Wonderful. But prior to that, the transport people sent a guy down and sent me a handy billy. You won't know what that is, but it's a sump pump. The idea was to start a gasoline motor. We can't get the sucker started. Pull and pull and pull and pull. And finally, the transporter gets orders to return to England now. This guy says, hey, I'll leave you the silly handy bill, but I gotta go. And up the rope he went. And I got this damn thing with no spark plug. Couldn't start it. And that's where we were really sinking. And found out later with no spark plug. So now we've got 10 of us on the boat. It's worth your life to go into the beach. Let me tell you, the mines were everywhere. You've seen these cross, whatever. Mm-hmm. And we weave our way in there. This is a part you may not want to keep in your repertoire, whatever. And we finally land. And we made it to land each time. And here's an Army lieutenant and said, hey, what you got there? I said, flesh stretchers and blankets. Says those are Navy stretchers and blankets. And the Navy beach is down here 45 yards. And you know what happened? We backed out, hit a mine full force.
So this is the second mine you hit? Oh.
2 of us survived out of the 10.
So was that your second landing, right? Oh, wow. So you pulled out, somehow you missed the mine coming in.
Missed it coming in. Touched it going out, evidently. And then going back in on this other trip, it blew us sky high. The Seabees, the familiar Seabees, had taken, bigger than this square, and welded them together for a dock, and then shoved them up on the beach. And I landed, I felt like my leg was in my mouth, one leg like this survived. Only one other guy survived. And that was not good. Because then you're no boat.
So let me ask you this then. So when the boat's blown up, the second mine that you run into,
Right.
how many guys were on the boat at that point?
10.
Okay.
Two.
So did they die from the blast, or they drowned, or what? How far out were you at that point?
We're at the beach.
Oh. So you didn't have to swim or anything, you just...
No, I don't know how I landed on this thing.
But so the blast tossed you onto the beach?
Yeah.
Wow.
And I don't know what happened to guys. And one other survived. I don't remember who he was.
So you were the only one?
Well, there were two of us.
Now, did the other guys survive the day?
I did. I never talked to him afterwards.
Okay, so you don't know what happened to him?
Lost contact already.
You don't know what happened to him. So what happened to you after that?
Well, then they ordered boats to come from England to replace our boats.
And they were LCMs as well?
Yeah, but it was going to take a while. So after the beach had calmed down a little bit, they had a tent city that they built. Didn't have to build much, they put some tents up there. And they sent me and a couple other guys up there. And adjacent to it was a large poppy field. And whether the Germans realized it or not, the nutty Americans were going to take over poppy from France, which was a World War I type of thing. And I've still got my poppy. And I only weighed in the 90s. And each day they're blowing up something, so I'm reaching in trying to get a poppy. I was only there 3 days. And they'd take my ankles around the neck and lean me in to get a poppy. So I got the poppy. And then when the boats came, we were able to...
This is the same day or the next day?
It was 3 days.
3 days later. So that puts it on the 9th or the 10th.
Whatever.
Yeah.
And then we were forming flotilla to invade Cherbourg, which is at the tip of a peninsula. And the Army Air flew in paratroops from this side. It's kind of pincer movement. And we went in from there was no battle at all, we just take over. So I was stationed in Cherbourg for a while.
Okay.
And in that interim period I was in Cherbourg, Paris was saved.
Okay, so that's in August, yeah, late August, yeah.
And we get liberty when I shouldn't tell you this, but 3 or 4 of us stole a Jeep and drove to Paris.
Okay. I assume what happened in Paris stays in Paris?
Yeah, just
You're not going to go into detail?
And I was so young, I didn't know what the heck.
I mean, we'll use our imagination, right?
I have a friend of mine who married a French girl, and I said the only French thing that everybody knew was voulez-vous coucher avec moi?
Right.
Everybody knew that.
Yeah.
Well, you sleep with me, and so you know.
In French.
In French.
Voulez-vous coucher avec moi means, do you want to sleep with me?
Yeah.
In French.
All the guys do that. Yeah.
So I wanted to go back a little bit. So while you're waiting on the beach for 3 days,
Yeah.
are you with wounded guys or what's the situation?
No recollection.
Okay. Do you think you deliberately mentally blocked that
I
out?
think so. The reason I can't watch this movie is, I'm just talking about it. It's really bad.
Yeah.
And we lowered the ramp and they just got mowed down. And into the water, and I could see them in the water. And it's inexplainable, really. Terrible.
So you think you mentally have blocked that? I mean,
Oh, I did for years. I never talked about any of this for years and years.
okay.
And my children, when my middle son grew up, beyond teens, I talked to him like.
So how long ago would that have been?
Well, he's 61 now, 62, so
Okay.
about 30 years ago or so. More than that. But,
So what do you think finally got you to start talking about it?
well, I realized the importance of it. And when my 2 granddaughters are going to a college school here in Lafayette, and talking to them, and one of them said to their teacher, my grandfather was in it. So they asked me to give a talk. And that's the first time I opened up the,
So do you think that's helped you then, having to give these
I
talks?
think it did, it did. I'm giving a talk here next Friday
Okay.
because of Veterans Day and so forth.
Right,
And most of these people don't know much about it. Although I showed them the 2 letters they just got, which I'm very proud of.
Sure, it should be, yeah.
Yeah.
You know, so what was Cherbourg like? What,
Cherbourg.
I mean, where were you billeted and what was the food
Well,
like?
the only thing that stands out of mine is a dumb, wasn't a joke. In those days, the Navy, if you were convicted of venereal disease, you didn't get paid. Yeah. Now here's an old salt, and I had a cold. I went to the dispensary, and I hear the doctor talking to him, and he said he is evolved with the proposition that you have trench mouth of the penis. which is, and he reminded him, that's bad time. And the guy said, wait a minute, talk, I can explain. He said, what do you mean explain? He says he'd been to a trip to Paris, and Paris has these peace laws. I don't know, have you been to Paris?
Yeah, sure,
So
yeah.
you take a leak there.
Yeah, right.
He said, I was taking a leak and somebody spit over the side. And the doctor said, I don't know whether you made it up or not, but he says, I believe you.
Oh God, that's classic. That wasn't you. You didn't say that, but
No, hell no.
this other guy said
I'm
it.
still a kid.
Yeah, but you know. Oh, so what was? I mean, Cherbourg. Do you remember? What was it like?
I
mean,
don't remember.
Okay.
I just remember invading
Okay.
and being barracks there and going from there
Okay.
to Paris. When I
So how long were you then on the continent? I mean, did you stay?
No. I'm trying to remember what happened from Cherbourg. Oh no, we went back to England.
Okay.
And I was in a repair shop.
So that would have been if you went to Paris after this. So that had to be September at the earliest.
I guess, I don't remember.
Okay.
I don't recall.
And so what was that like? I guess it was pretty tame compared to what you'd been doing.
Oh gosh, yeah. And, you know, we didn't think about the extent of the upheaval of the invasion.
Okay, so how long then were you in the UK doing this?
Well, boy, I guess it was still 1944,
Right.
and I got back to the States, don't remember, in time. Boy, I'm drawing a blank on the time frame. Because I was in England for quite a while.
Were you still in England when the European War was over, or did you been?
Before.
So you went home before the war it was over.
Well, I think, no. I was in England on VE Day.
Okay.
It's May.
Okay. So what was that? What was that like? That must have been.
Well, let me tell you. Prior to that, we used to go to England, London for Liberty and so forth. And my father had a fellow working for him here on Coventry Point who had a brother who lived in London. And he said, you ought to look him up sometime. Wrote me down. He said, well, the last thing I need is a family man. We go to Liberty in London, you're looking to get laid as well. So, anyway, so I said, okay, I'll make a date. But I had my best friend, much older than I, he's in his 40s. His name was Zinsmeister. And we were going to London on a Friday evening. Now, what we used to do is we carried money with us, and we used to stop at a Red Cross in the Hyde Park area. And they would check the money into a bank there. So if you got rolled or something, or whatever. Well, on this trip, we decided we found the money, I told you earlier, booze unlimited at the Elephant Park. I forgot this. It's the last stop of a subway. And they had unlimited booze. So instead of stopping at Hyde Park, we went directly there and proceeded to get smashed. And here I'm thinking, I've got this connection with this guy from home, and we're going to meet him, and I'm going to... So I quit drinking, but Zinsmeister didn't. He was smashed over. And we're meeting at a hotel in the Hyde Park area. And we get there, and I'm saying, I got to get straight. I went to the bathroom and gave the guy half a crown, said, kind of give me half a week or whatever, which he did. In the meantime, we're at the bar, and my new host, whom I didn't know, is buying me beer and wine. And I'm still a kid, you know. And then I realize he's queer. I'm using that term intentionally because we're leaving the bar. He wanted us to come to his apartment. And I said, "There's no way." And he's buying the tickets, and Zinzi and I are over the side. I said, "Zinzi, this guy is queer. Let's get the hell out of here." And he says in the loudest voice, which I'll never forget, "He is not queer." I said, "Well, you stay, I'm gone." And he grabbed me by my jumper and ripped it. And he didn't rip it intentionally. I said, "Going that way," and he's going that way. And I went to the Hyde Park, whatever, I forgot. And they gave me a room with a bed. I took my stash of money, put it on the pillow, went to sleep. Buzz bomb. Knocked me out of the bed, lost my clothes, my money, everything.
You're lucky you weren't hit. I mean,
Exactly. So they gave me some clothing to go back to base. I come trotting into the base on a Saturday evening. I said, "What the hell are you doing here on Saturday night? You know, you're not due back to the mine." I said, "At least I'm here. You'll never see Zenzi again. He's gone." Of course, he comes back the next day and says, "You don't know what you missed." So the guy had fresh eggs, which you hadn't seen. And whatever we wanted, you wanted to get laid, you didn't do anything.
but what did he pay for that?
Nothing.
Yeah, but he said if the guy was queer.
Yeah, it was his apartment.
Yeah, but so what did Zinzi have to give him for the, nothing?
And the guy called me on Monday at the base and said, "Look, you know how I am. Back home in your country, they don't know it. And if you don't broadcast, I'll make it worth your while. So whenever you come to London," his apartment. And it was such a breath of fresh air. People coming and going and music and everything. And one thing, I don't know if you want this on the record, but one of the guys is getting some oral sex. And a buzz bomb hit close by. And she bit down on it.
Oh, no. So did the guy lose it?
No, but he was, my God, you never heard a scream in your life.
Oh, God. This is
But we had fresh eggs, we had everything we hadn't seen in a long time. And I didn't report anything to my father, and that was good.
Jeez.
Just a highlight of going, you know, the women in London, I don't know if I told you, would not lay down to have sex. They were afraid of getting pregnant. So they would have sex standing up. And I used to tell the guys, "You can get the goddamnest cramp in your leg." I'm telling you stories around, but I don't know if you want to use it.
This is classic stuff. That's great.
I know.
Okay. So what other escapades?
Well, that's the extent of that I recall. And my best friend had girlfriends, and he was a good-looking guy. And years later, I'm thinking, I couldn't find him, and we were close. And I knew this little town he's from. I knew his name, but I evidently had the wrong first name. Freebus was his name. And he was older than I, whatever. And finally I said, you know, with the current availability of the computer, I called up his name, and it gave me North Carolina. I forget the name of the town, it's famous. And I called, and I got his wife on the phone. It's the same gal that he was going home to see. What triggered it was I was sitting in the kitchen with my wife, and they're playing "I'll Be Home for Christmas," and I remembered that. And I said, I wonder if he married her. So I put her name up, and I got the phone number.
Wow.
And I talked to her, she answered. I said, was he in the war with Navy? Yes, yes. Is he still alive? Yes. He's here, you want to talk to him? I get on the phone, I said, Freebus, I've looked to you for years. Yeah, I mean, literally many, many years. Oh yeah, it's just that I haven't thought about you. I've thought about you, but didn't know where to reach you. And what he's doing in the middle of North Carolina, I don't know. And he was a seventh day Adventist, and they had transferred him all over the country and whatever. And he said, oh yeah, I named my firstborn after you. That's how close we were.
Well,
I never got to see him.
so I'm just curious, I want to go back to VE Day. So what were this, I mean, there must have been amazing celebrations.
Oh my God, it was beyond unbelief. Everybody hugging everybody. And,
So where were you on VE Day?
I'm trying to remember. I think I was home in Kansas City.
Okay.
And it wasn't as demonstrative as New York was and so forth.
Huh.
It was pretty good. And it was from there that we were transferred to San Diego. VE Day had come and gone, so Europe was settled. Transferred to San Diego to train to invade Japan.
Yeah.
LCM. And we were stationed in San Diego. Well, it was Miramar, which is an airfield, not important. And then they put us on a ship, a 33-foot ship. It's a minesweeper. And we're training, landing, and what have you. And it was a very casual life. And it was during time here, in the rest of the country, where rationing was thriving. And our crew was so small, Cookie had come out in the morning and said, what do you guys want me to cook for dinner? You know, that type of thing. And my father, I had relatives in Los Angeles. And so I arranged sometimes to meet him there. But in the majority, I bought a car, 1932 Dodge Touring sedan that had been up on whatever, the whole war. $350 was a lot of money in those days. And I had trouble, it didn't have an ignition, the key, but had to start, so. And we'd get a fifth of booze, throw the cap away, pass it around, drive into LA. Oh, God. Dumb.
I mean, you must have heard horror stories about the Pacific, so I assume you were
terrible.
really...
Then the soldier said, should he have dropped the bomb? Yes. We
Yeah,
were
oh, yeah.
estimated to lose 1 million to 1.5 million men.
Right.
Because the Japanese would have fought to the death.
Sure. Yeah.
So that was the end
So
of
do you remember where you were when you heard about VJ Day? Or the bombing? I mean, the bombings were
I
first.
was on the ship,
Oh,
minesweep. We were testing material that would flow out from the rear of the boat
okay,
to disturb mines and so forth.
okay. So I assume the minesweeper was wooden and you had that gaussing cable that was around it and everything?
Don't remember that. The irony of this is I took the family back to San Diego for a trip, and we took a boat, one of these boat rides, and my boat is up on something, the same boat.
Really?
I was amazed.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. So then how long after VJ Day were you in the Navy? When did you get discharged?
Not long. VJ Day was...
Well, mid-August, and they signed on your birthday.
On my birthday.
Yeah.
And I got out in February of '46.
Okay.
So this was...
So you were just under 20 or just about 20?
No, I was 19.
So, right?
Yeah.
Wow. Can you show some pictures? You have some pictures there of yourself.
Well, I do, but I'm proud of this one.
Okay, if you want it, can you hold it up? And
Sure.
right up by you, and I'll zoom in on it. So if you hold it up right here towards the camera. And this is, can you tell us what
Yeah,
this?
this is the French Legion of Honor Medal.
Right, okay.
It is the highest ranking medal that France awards.
Right. And you got this recently?
Well, no, it's been a few years.
Oh, you got it that long ago?
Oh, yeah, about 5, 6 years.
Okay, that's what. So I assume it was like the French consulate in San Francisco or Los Angeles?
French consulate.
Yeah.
What happened was here it was Walnut Creek. My wife was still alive. And we went to luncheon at a restaurant. And here's a whole bunch of guys that are celebrating something. What are you celebrating? Celebrating the fact that my friend here just received this accolade because he was at D-Day. I said, well, hell, I was at D-Day. I said, well, can you prove it? The two of them came to my house, had nothing to prove. And in those days, and maybe still, there's a veteran support group in Concord here, has nothing to do with VA. Just they keep separate files. And they have a contact back in St. Louis who had all of the records, Army and Navy.
Mm-hmm.
And so he said, maybe you know, get some there. So we write to them and they said, okay. Then the Army part of it had a fire.
Mhm.
They didn't have it. The Navy was intact. And send us $60 and we'll send you the entire, I have my entire portfolio of medical exams and what have you, and my original application to go in the Navy and so everything. But within it was, I'll show you.
So if you hold
I don't
that.
think you'll be able to read it.
Well, I'll take a picture of it. So what does it basically say?
It says your meritorious service at D-Day.
Oh, wow, okay.
I'll read it to you through.
Yeah, please.
It said, I have 2 or 3 of these. Your meritorious to me, Commander of Task Force 123, your meritorious performance of duty in landing the military and naval combat demolition units in the assault upon the continent of Europe on 6 June 1944 is worthy of special consideration. As a member of the LCM crew, whose duty was to lead these units as the spearhead of the ambitious assault, you exhibited exceptional discipline, skill, and courage, and thereby contributed to its success. For this outstanding performance of duty, you are hereby commended. Copy of this letter will be attached to your history.
Now, did your boat take some of the underwater or the demolition teams in too, or just regular infantry? Do you remember? Okay, so some of the other LCMs carried in some of the demolition.
Yeah, but I don't know how or why. Our job as LCM was to go to an LCI, take the soldiers
Okay,
down.
huh. Now, you have also a picture of yourself, I think, when you were...
Well, yeah, this is when I was a kid.
Yeah, no, no, go ahead, hold it up, right next to you. No, right here, so I can get you then and now. So, do you remember, was this taken, at what point in the war was that taken?
I was still, in this picture,
Yeah.
I was still just in boot camp probably.
Oh, okay,
Because I was
okay,
very young.
wow. Can you tilt it a little more this way? There you go. So, do you recognize that guy?
Yeah, vaguely.
Okay, that's great. That's great. Now, do you have any other memorabilia from the war there that you could tell us about?
Well, I'm doing some preparatory, I'm giving this presentation
Okay.
next Friday.
Okay.
I don't think, this is a dissertation on the French Legion of Honor.
Okay.
It was instigated by Napoleon in 1802. So it's quite something.
Yeah?
And I don't think there's anything else. It's another commended commander of amphibious bases, United Kingdom, for your meritorious performance and so forth. I think that's about all I got.
So, is the Navy like the Army?
Yeah,
Is
it's
it,
kind of fun.
What's
We
it?
went back for the first one, but this is
what is
Chief
that?
of Staff of the U.S.
Okay, hang on, let me zoom in on
His
that.
name escapes me, but he's from Kansas City, my hometown.
Oh, wow. So this was when? This is
when we went back the first time.
and when was that?
Don't ask me.
Okay,
I think for the 40th or 50th, 45th
Okay.
or something.
wow, okay,
Okay?
yeah, wow. So after the war, did you, when you got out, you said February 46, did you know about and use the GI Bill?
No, I got screwed. That's how I know about it.
Okay. What happened?
My brother-in-law, remember, I had no home, and my sister had a family and so forth. And I lived with her, and my brother-in-law owned a flower shop with his brothers. And found out, much to my chagrin, instead of sending me back to high school on the GI Bill or even beyond, he found out that they would pay him for on-the-job training. So I became a florist. and they went back to school.
Did you know about or use the 5220 Club? Are you familiar with that?
So,
Okay. That was that's the colloquial name. I don't know what the official government name, but basically what it was is government, if you could not find a job, which is not your problem, the government would pay you $20 a week for up to 52 weeks to let you get back on your feet. Okay.
Yeah, because then I was working there and driving a truck and all kinds of experiences. They sent me to Chicago for design training. And by then I had married. I don't know if I should include it.
No, go ahead, yeah. So when did you get married? How did you meet her?
Kansas City.
Okay.
Good looking.
This is KCMO, not KCK.
That's right. I got married in Kansas City, Kansas.
Why was that?
Justice of peace.
Oh, cheaper?
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. I didn't have any money.
Yeah, right. No, that's fine.
And my best friend had a car.
Okay.
So he was my best man.
Uh-huh.
And she and I married. I found out later I was her third husband.
Wow. What was her name?
Sharon.
Okay.
Yerger, Joerger. And of course, marriage didn't last, but I swear that my son was born to the minute 9 months. And she had him. And then when I was sent to Chicago to design school, I had not seen him, obviously, for a while. So when I came back, I didn't have a car. I called my best friend who had a car. And I found out, I called her and I said, where is he? She said, put him in a home for different children. Some gal running a business, more or less. And I got there, and his little towhead kid, 5 years old, wouldn't leave me alone, had to physically hold me. And when I told my sister that was the case, she said, this kid's not going anywhere. Took him.
He wants to take some photo when we are talking, but it won't live. Is it okay?
Oh. Can we wait just a few minutes? Yeah. Okay, so did you get then married a second time?
Oh, yeah, because I was married for over 60 years.
Oh, so obviously the second one's stuck.
And my son from that first marriage, I lived with my sister.
Okay.
And she had 2 children, which created a bit of friction, you can imagine.
Yeah.
It was a very trying time.
Wow.
And I met my wife through a friend, one of my good friends had married a girl next door. So if you ever need a date, there's 2 sisters there that are viable. I always kid about the fact if the other sister had answered the phone, she'd have been poor too. She married a millionaire. So.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So I want to go back a little bit if we can and talk more about any. So you've had reunions with some of your guys?
Never.
No, but you've been back to Normandy a couple of times.
Yeah.
How many times do you remember?
3.
Okay. When was the last visit?
The last, I'm vague with it. I know the first visit was of interest. I think I told you. No, I didn't tell you. There's the fellow whose father wrote the book D-Day, whose name escapes me, has a travel agency in New Orleans. New Orleans.
Ambrose, Steve Ambrose.
That's it.
Yeah.
And I called him to find out on the first trip if there were groups that he sponsored or anything that were going back. And he gave me the name of a fella in New Jersey. And I called him. I since found out he's a famous guy. He led the troops up Pontotoc. Are you familiar with Pontotoc?
Yeah, of course. I've interviewed 2 guys from the 2nd Ranger Battalion who climbed Pontotoc.
And he led them. Mm-hmm. You know, they had grappling hooks is the only way they could get up.
Yep.
And the Germans were shooting down them. Anyway, I said, have you got a group going? He said, yeah, I've got a group going. He said, but all of our guys are on oxygen.
Hold it. I think I know this guy. Is it named Len Lomel?
I think that's right.
I interviewed him a number of years ago. Yeah,
Oh,
he got the Distinguished Service Cross.
Oh, yeah.
He took out the guns that weren't there that got moved. Okay, so it's the same guy. It's the same guy, Len Lomel.
So I said, you don't want to go with us. I said, why not? He said, well, all my guys are on oxygen, and we're going to stay in French homes. I said, okay. I didn't go with him.
Okay.
My wife and I went along. I got consistently lost. He gave me a car. It's got GSP. I was, what the hell is that? I didn't know.
Yeah.
Didn't use it.
Well, if you go to France too, you know the road signs. You'll come. This is classic. We've seen it so many times ourselves. You're driving down a road.
Right.
You reach a T intersection.
Right.
Name of the village, and there's arrows going 2 different ways for the same village.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happens.
And we had the morning of the presentation at D-Day. We had I drove to one little place that I knew had an overnight something, a bakery early morning. And he told us to get on the freeway and how to go and get there. And they'd taken a supermarket lot this early in the morning, like 5 o'clock. And let us park there and had buses going to the cemetery. So we did that. Funny, small world.
Yeah.
Get on the bus and one guy says, she's from the town in Kansas that we knew for the brother.
So you've been back 3 times. Did you also visit Cherbourg at the time?
No.
So just it was
No. Yeah.
Okay.
Went to Paris, a lot of
Okay.
activity in Paris.
Okay. And you said the thing that got you really wanting to talk about this was someone in your family wanted you to talk at a school, right?
Well, my granddaughters go to high school.
Okay.
And told the principal that I'd been to the den.
So what made you decide?
I don't know. I think it was time. I think what pushed me in that direction was I wanted the kids to know that war is hell.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so potential reasons to think it's glamorous.
Yeah.
And I mean, it ain't glamorous.
Yeah.
That's why.
So, but you don't. So your defense mechanism for trying to forget. Well, it was probably I wasn't conscious. Those
Yeah.
3 days you were on the beach. You say you don't remember. I'm sure your mind just said, "I don't want to remember."
Yeah.
So did you after the war at any point have what they call PTSD today? Do you think you had anything
I don't
like
think
that?
so. I never. I've been asked, obviously.
Yeah.
And I've been very active at the Veterans Administration here in Martinez. They've been extremely good to me. I have anemia, and they give me a shot of Procrit every week. I'm not on it now because
What is that?
Procrit is a unique drug in that it makes blood.
Uh-huh.
I don't lose blood. I just don't make it.
Oh, okay.
And I'm on the downhill side of living right now because the last month or so I went to the hospital 4 days, 3 days,
Oh, no.
2 days, and they could do nothing for me. And I've lived a good long life, and I said, hey, I'm ready to go. And the doctor and I agreed. So I'm on hospice,
Oh.
and they take good care of me. I've got outside help. This guy works for another company. It's expensive as hell. But in doing that, they cut you off of anything that is life-saving.
Okay.
So take care of all your medications that are meaningful. I insisted on one of them, a blood thinner, because I don't want a stroke.
Right.
And I was telling the doctor at the hospital, I said, why don't you just give me a pill or something and get the hell out of here.
Right.
And she said, you run the danger of becoming brain dead. And I don't want that. I
No.
went through a little bit of that with my wife. She was demented, and I saw her go down, and the hospice people gave her, what is the shot of, starts with an M,
Morphine?
morphine. And she was blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that for myself.
Well, you seem to be. I mean, except for
See, my problem is I'm still got the mane
Yeah.
and all that.
Well, you got a great sense of humor too.
Well, true. And now, it's terrible for my kids, for me to say I'm going out of here. Something that's unique, and I know it's unique.
No, my dad did the same thing.
Did he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wasn't even there. I was in Egypt.
And believe me, I'm ready to go because I get a different pain, different places everywhere.
Okay.
At the time, I had a terrible cough,
Right.
but it's gone.
Yeah.
But I'm just everything at different times hurts.
Yeah.
And I reflect on my life. I've had a good life.
Right.
I've got 13 grandkids.
Wow.
The only thing that I'm cautious about potentially, my son in Chicago has 6 children, and they're all gathering here for Thanksgiving.
Okay.
Now, on my 95th birthday, I took them all to Aptos. It's a resort town south of here. And we rented 6 condominiums, and I have a large photograph of all.
Wow.
But I'm thinking if I can hold out that long, I'm not trying to, but if I do, that'll be the highlight.
Wow.
because you're getting older now,
Yeah, of course.
yeah.
Well, this has been, so we feel really honored that you decided to take some of your time to meet with them. Why did you decide to say yes? I'm just curious, Tor.
I think that I wanted some kind of history somewhere. I've given different pieces of it, but nothing in terms of my grandson works in LA in the Hollywood area and does some filming. And we were all meeting in Palm Springs some long time ago. And he filmed me up to a point until I got to the first divorce, and then we didn't finish it.
Okay. So, but you were able or wanted to talk about the other things that you just told us today about D-Day.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Only because I thought it was time.
Right.
I think they needed some history.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I've been written up in the paper and
Right.
that kind of thing, articles.
Yeah. Is there anything else about D-Day that you remember? I mean, sometimes it's little things that stick in your mind.
I know. Well, they issued us coats, just regular issue, long and cold and whatever.
It's like a pea coat. What do they call
Oh, no,
it?
it's long and that,
Okay.
and water resistant.
Right.
And everybody said, wow, where'd you get that thing? So the night before we were going, they raffled off my coat.
This is the night before D-Day. What, did they think you weren't going to be coming back?
Well, that was my feeling.
Wow.
Yeah.
So they raffled off your coat. Did you get any money from that?
No, hell no.
Jeez.
Money was really not an object. I learned how to play poker in the Navy the hard way.
Yeah, okay, so you must have lost your shirt a couple of times.
I'll never forget it. We played table stakes. And one guy, it was a fair game, and I had 4 nines. I'll never forget it.
Wow.
Like
That's be hard to beat.
Shut it aside. Went all in. Didn't have any money for weeks.
So you lost with 4
Straight
nines?
flush. Had a straight flush.
Oh, jeez.
Now, I still play a lot of poker. I did up until now.
Yeah, but 4 nines, my God,
I
that's
know.
almost a,
I understand.
Yeah.
Unbeatable, except
yeah.
that's a highlight of mine.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what lesson did you take away from that?
To be careful. Now, you know, I'm Jewish, and there were instances of some.
Well, I'm glad, I wanted to ask you about that. I almost forgot. Yeah, what kind of anti-Semitic
Not.
experiences did you have?
It was kind of subliminal.
Okay.
I'll never forget the kid from New Jersey who was outright dirty Jew type of thing. And I'm young, and I said, those are fighting words or whatever.
But Franklin is not a
I
Jewish
know
name.
that, and I don't look necessarily
So how did he know?
Semitic. Well, I was on my dog tag. It says J,
Okay.
and I don't make it a secret incident.
Sure, no.
Here, for instance, coming here, I want everybody to know.
Sure.
There are quite a few Jewish people here.
So you experienced anti-Semitism from, did you experience it from a lot of people or just a few?
Just
or?
a few.
Okay.
But I always felt that they knew and were very careful
Yeah.
not to, you know, if you've got friends who are Jews and you're not going to.
A clique or something, yeah.
Yeah.
But you weren't like that though.
Well, I didn't grow up in a religious home.
Right.
My father was not anti, but like my father-in-law said, once a Jew, always a Jew. Forget.
Okay, so
he
he did-
never went to synagogue.
Right.
But you know, and he married a Catholic woman.
Yeah.
So my mother-in-law was Catholic,
Well, that's interesting.
and she had her 3 daughters converted to Judaism.
Really? Because my first wife was Jewish.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but she didn't practice.
No. Well, but what happened with my wife, she was the eldest of 3 girls, and because Katie wanted them to be Jewish, the 3 of them were converted. I'll tell you an interesting story about converting. And so she was not ultra-religious, but she knew more than I did growing up. My father became incensed when they started to try and charge him for a seat at the synagogue for Yom Kippur. And he said that was the end of it. Now, he never talked to me about it. But they did, a reasonably large Jewish community in Kansas City. All of them working folk, usually tradespeople. And they decided that the children were going to lose their Jewishness. So rather than the religious side of it, they hired a young lad from Denver to come to Kansas City and teach Yiddish,
Huh.
which is totally different.
Yeah.
Southern Europe.
Yeah, it's not Hebrew, no.
Oh, no, no,
Yeah.
same alphabet. But
Yeah.
And that's where I went to school.
Okay.
And I can remember this day my father beaming when I said, Gute Nacht, Tate.
Wow.
Good night, Dad.
You're right, yeah.
And so I never got the Yiddish at home.
Okay.
Usually, I was teaching a class with friends of mine at the old Jewish home here. And they had the same story. Grandfather, grandmother, Bubby and Zeta lived with them and would speak Yiddish. And whenever they didn't want the kids to know anything, they'd speak Yiddish.
Wow,
And
okay.
I picked
Yeah.
up on it, so that's kind of fun.
Well,
Yeah, I did that for 17, 18 years.
well.
Fun,
So after you got out of the military,
right?
did you experience any anti-Semitism?
I think so, but nothing dire. I just knew that it was there.
Okay.
What happened is I hated the flower business. And my brother was in paper distribution sales. And mine's 8 years old, and he decided to go back to school and get his master's. And so he said to me, why don't you get the hell out of this flower business and get in the paper house, and you can take over some of my accounts. Well, two things happened. One, this is an aside, when I was married, the first time my brother-in-law was obviously much older than I, said to me one day, how long are you going to ruin your life? How long are you going to ruin your
Well,
life?
what did he mean by that?
The marriage.
Oh.
Horrendous, and he was right. I walked out of the house, I bought a house on J. Bill, $7,800.
Wow.
And walked out of that house with nothing but the shirt on my back.
Wow.
Anyway, beyond that, I'm trying to remember, I got off track there.
Oh, the anti-Semitism.
What happened is, my sister suggested Jewish Federation Services, I forget, they did testing for aptitude.
Okay.
And the test came back with me for sales. And they made an appointment for me at a paper house
Okay.
owned by a Jewish guy.
Okay.
And that's how I got the paper business. I was in the paper business 43 years
Well.
and went up, up, up.
Well.
So I ended up as the vice president, large corporation,
Well.
very well thought of.
So when did you retire?
Oh, 95.
Okay.
So I've been retired quite a while.
So what did you do in your spare time?
Well, in those days, my wife was still, so
Right.
we traveled and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Went all over the place.
That's great.
Had friends and so forth. Then she became slowly became, so she was really going downhill for about 3 years.
Was this Alzheimer's or dementia?
Dementia, and she had cancer, and it just slowly nipped at her until she.
Yeah, that's probably worse than just like
Yeah,
that.
believe me, I learned a lesson from being with her. And especially, as I said, they gave her the morphine, and she was out of it numb, more or less.
Okay.
That's no life.
Yeah.
But I was in the hospital for 4 days. I had pancreatitis and one day thing.
Oh.
And she was, I put her in a home here in Moraga. It's I never remember the name of it, but it's a 24-hour nursing facility.
Okay.
So she was well taken care of in that respect. But I was gone for 4 days. And obviously she was looking for me. And the minute I told her at the hospital, I gotta get the hell out of here and see her. And my son-in-law picked me up, took me over, and she, I think, gave up after she saw me, because she died that night.
Oh, no.
And we chatted, and I held her hand. And kissed her. She gone.
Wow.
She was a great, great, great wife and mother. She held her whole business was make sure the family stays together, especially when my youngest was transferred to Chicago. She wanted to make sure all those kids, so they're very close.
Now, on balance, how would you because I'm sure you're doing this now if you haven't done it before. How would you look back on your life? What would you say about your life from your perspective?
From my perspective,
Yeah.
I think it's unique in that, you know, no mother love. 9 years old, I have a tough time remembering her at all.
Right.
And my father, I never knew him as an adult per se, because he was, when I went in the service, he was here, and I wrote him letters and so forth, and he was a kid, but I didn't call him Joe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got out, I was here for a week, and I said, I want to go back to Kansas City and see my friends and so forth. And I could work at the flower shop for a few weeks, doing driving my heavy truck. And when I did that, that was in February, when I got out of service.
So February 46.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. And then he drowned in May.
How did that happen?
He was on a boat. He was going with this lady whom I'd met before. And her brother and a friend of her brother's owned a boat. And they were going to go out fishing on Memorial Day. And all I never knew about it was that my dad was a good swimmer, but I know from my Navy experience, if your boat is inundated and the motor's still running, it takes a straight dive down.
Oh.
And what happened, I understand, is that in the Candlestick Cove, a wave hit and inundated him.
And the motor was still going? It just took
And
him?
didn't find his body for a week. It washed up in Marin County.
Whoa.
So I really never had the opportunity of,
Right.
and in later life, where I got into different problems, I moved from Chicago out here, changed companies, forgetting the cost of living here was a lot more than there. And I took a decrease in salary to make the move, and we were in dire straits. Now, I've got a brother-in-law who's a millionaire. He always said to me, if you ever need anything. So then I said, you know, I could use some help. Well, we're in kind of difficulties right now. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Took out a second mortgage, never heard of that. Couldn't sell a house in Illinois.
Oh, God.
13 months, 2 different payments.
Well, you know what they say, you can't choose your relatives, so.
No, you can't.
Believe me, I know that.
This company just celebrated their 100th anniversary.
Wow.
And they built tremendous amounts of different whatever in Kansas City, it's well known there. Yeah. And he's still alive, he's demented a little bit. And my sister-in-law, my sister-in-law is still alive.
Oh. So these are 2 guys that were killed that day?
No, they were not killed. This was, Monaco was the coxswain on the boat, drives the boat.
Okay.
And Sasio was the gunner.
Right, you mentioned that.
Yeah.
So they made it into the beach the first time?
Well, no, Monaco turned the boat out to sea. He said, I'm not going in there and get killed.
Oh, okay, and then Sasio said...
Sasio knocked him out.
Okay. So they survived the first landing?
Yeah, we all did.
But not the second?
Not second.
Okay.
They were gone.
Did you contact their families afterwards?
No.
Or no?
I never had a reunion, nothing of that sort.
Okay.
I kind of sublimated the whole experience for a long time.
Of course.
It's still tender to me when the first few minutes where they show the bodies in the water. Yeah. I can't watch. I can visualize it, but I can't watch.
Right. So you think that first 20 minutes of Saving Private Ryan is pretty accurate?
Oh my gosh. I don't know how he replicated.
Yeah.
Because I said there was no movie taken at the time.
Yeah. Well, the stuff that Frank Cappa did, all those photographs were, I mean, you know that story, when he was taking all the stills, that somebody rushed the negatives back to London to be developed, and the guy who did it screwed it up.
I heard that.
And destroyed the negatives. I mean, I think there was half a dozen photos that managed to come out. Can you imagine? I would be livid. I would be pissed. I risked my life to get these pictures, and you screwed this up.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
But they say there was no actual record of it.
Yeah.
So this movie that he replicated just blows my mind. Because I didn't do anything inland.
Right.
I knew about stories inland.
Sure. So you said the Luftwaffe the German Air Force attacked you?
No.
No?
The
Oh,
thing, we owned the sky.
right, yeah.
You know, and,
Yeah. I know a few planes got through, but not necessarily,
No, we owned the sky.
So
We
you
never
didn't-
drove that.
so you didn't have any
We had
problem?
every kind of ship, battleship. I was on a flagship where, on the deck, I don't know how I got there or why, but the guns would come up off the deck and that's where I lost part of my hearing.
Okay, yeah, I would imagine, yeah.
So,
Wow. So I want to thank you for taking the time for meeting with us
my pleasure.
and, of course, for your service during the war.